Hello, and welcome to Unit 1 of the ITIL 2011 Foundation Certification course offered by Simplilearn. This unit includes 2 lessons and provides an overview of the service management lifecycle. It will help you to provide appropriate service solutions to businesses, customers, and users. Let us move on to the first lesson, Principles of IT Service Management, in the next screen. This lesson covers the key concepts related to service management. We will also focus on stakeholders associated with service management. Let us look at the objectives of this lesson in the next screen. After completing this lesson, you will be able to explain the concept of best practices and identify the stakeholders in service management. In addition, you will be able to describe service management roles and responsibilities. You will also be able to explain the types of service providers. In the next screen, we will discuss the best practices in IT service management. IT service management is the implementation and management of quality IT services that meet the needs of a business. It is performed by IT service providers through an appropriate mix of people, process, and information technology. IT service management includes best practices or processes that have been successfully followed by many organizations. Apart from the fact that they have evolved from successful innovations, best practices and open standards are widely accepted. Best practices are derived from several sources. Few such sources are existing public standards, such as those published by the International Standards Organization or ISO, industry practices that are shared among industry practitioners, academic research, and internal experiences or an organization's past experiences in providing similar services. Best practices are sometimes called public practices. In the next screen, we will look at the reasons to choose best practices as opposed to proprietary practices. There are a number of reasons for preferring public practices over proprietary practices. Public practices are widely distributed among a large community of professionals through publicly available training and certification, whereas proprietary practices are deeply embedded in organizations. Therefore, it is difficult to replicate the same environment. Public practices are applied across many technologies and businesses. These practices are reviewed by peers and used by different parties. But proprietary practices are highly customized to support specific business needs. They are also hard to adapt or reuse. Public practices are available for free, and it is easier for organizations to hire people with the knowledge of such practices, whereas proprietary practice is owned by someone who will charge for it. The evolution of proprietary practices depends on the owner and cannot be guaranteed. For example, you are in the midst of an online training for a technical course, and you find out that the course is not up to date. The organization that developed the course is out of business, so you will be stuck paying for the course and receiving outdated knowledge. Now let us do a quick recall of the concepts covered. Service is a means of delivering value to customers by facilitating outcomes the customer wants to achieve, without the ownership of specific costs or risks. Let us take an example to understand this further. Suppose an online bookstore is looking for a repository or database to store all the data related to their online book-selling business, such as book details, customer details, and so on. The required outcome is online sale of books. One of the activities facilitating the outcome is storage of data. The bookstore is not specialized in managing storage as an IT service, and therefore does not want to manage the associated costs and risks which may arise due to infrastructure, staff, facilities, and so on. However, there are organizations in the market that are willing to handle the risks for a cost. These organizations are called service providers. They have the specialized knowledge and experience as well as the confidence to control the associated costs and risks. So the bookstore agrees to pay for the database service provided by the service provider under specific terms and conditions. Thus, the service provider provides value to the customer, that is the online bookstore, by managing their database and the costs and risks. In the next screen, we will focus on service management. Service management is the effective, process-driven management of transforming IT resources into valuable IT services. The image shows the link that has to be preserved between the desired business outcomes and the services that service management is responsible for. Let us understand the terms used in the image. Two types of assets are used by both organizations and customers. These are capabilities and resources. Capabilities are the functions used to manage services. Capabilities are intangible assets of an organization and cannot be purchased, but have to be developed and matured over time. They include people, knowledge, processes, organization, and management. Resources is a generic term that includes people, information, applications, IT infrastructure, and financial capital that help to deliver an IT service. Resources are the tangible assets of an organization. The resources and capabilities used by the service provider to offer services to customers are called service assets. Let us take the example of an organization providing email as a service. This organization needs to have hardware such as servers, routers, and switches to relay emails. They should also have software such as Gmail to let users read their emails. The hardware and software mentioned here are examples of assets. Such an organization also needs a capable team to manage these assets and the money required to procure these assets. If the customers of the organization do not know how to get the email service, all these assets go waste. So some of the critical underlying elements of getting an email service are how to get an email account, how to maintain it, and where to go for support if issues occur. The capabilities and resources used by the customer to achieve business outcomes are called customer assets. There are certain methods or processes to ensure that the delivery of services is effective. This helps to maintain a link between the desired business outcomes and the services that service management is responsible for. Now let us understand two more terms, which are performance and value. Performance is a measure of what is achieved or delivered by a system, person, team, process, or IT service. Considering the example of email as a service, effective use by all users, the number of mails delivered to the intended recipients, and so on, are some of the performance measures of the service. Now let us define value. Value is a measure of the return on investment or benefit to a business. For example, the invention of email has led to faster flow of information and quick decision-making by businesses, unlike the Postal Service. The result is a growth in business outcome or revenue. Next, we will focus on service management practice. There is no single best management practice that fits every company. There are several sources of service management practices that fulfill the objectives of a business. The image shows some of the services of service management practices. There are certain enablers that define how these sources may be used. The enablers help to determine the practice that can serve the purpose of any business or organization. The employees play a key role in the organization. The use of technology may facilitate service management. In addition to the sources and enablers, there are several drivers and scenarios that help decide which service management practice should be chosen. Laws such as Sarbanes-Oxley influence the way businesses operate. Competition may also shape the way a business functions. That is because the business needs to stay competitive for its survival in the market. The customers of the business will want the organizations to operate in alignment with their needs. Thus, public frameworks and standards should not be ignored. The organization should cultivate their proprietary knowledge based on public standards and frameworks. Coordination and collaboration across organizations become easier based on shared practices and standards. In the next screen, we will focus on the challenges in service management. The challenges in service management are: firstly, the nature of output in service management is intangible. Secondly, the output is hard to control, measure, and validate. Thirdly, customers' assets such as applications, processes, transactions, and documents arrive based on the demand, and these stimulate service production. So demand is associated with customers' assets. Fourthly, there is hardly any buffer between the creation of the service and its consumption by the customer. Finally, service capacity and output are of perishable nature. This means that service providers need to ensure there is a steady source of supply to satisfy the customer's demands. The supply should have consistent quality. In the next screen, we will discuss the benefits of IT service management. The benefits of IT service management are: service provision is of high quality because people associated with it are aware of their responsibilities. The service quality is cost-effective. The services satisfy the demands of customer, user, and business. The processes used are centralized and integrated with each other. Next, we will focus on the stakeholders in service management. There are two types of customers for any organization. Customers who work in the same organization as the IT service provider are termed as internal customers. For example, the marketing department in an IT company is their internal customer because it uses IT services. If the organization charges the department for the IT services, the payment made is considered as an internal transaction in the organization's accounting system. The payment is not considered as revenue earned by the organization. Customers who are in a legally binding contract with the service provider and purchase services from the latter are termed as external customers. They are not employed by the organization. For example, an online bookseller getting IT services from an IT service provider is an external customer. In the next screen, we will discuss internal and external services. Services delivered to business units within the same organization are called internal services, whereas services delivered to an external organization are called external services. The concept of internal and external services are explained further with an image shown on the screen. In this image, the IT department is providing services to business units which belong to the same organization. Such services are known as internal services. For example, the sales department is an internal customer using the CRM services provided by the IT department. The same IT department is providing services to the customers who are external to the organization. These services are considered as external services. Let us further understand the facts related to internal and external services. Internal services support activities within an organization, but external services result in business outcomes. It is vital to link the internal services to the external services, which is helpful in measuring the business outcomes. This also enables you to measure the ROI, or return on investment. Next, we will focus on what a process is and how it is related to providing quality services. A process is a set of activities designed to accomplish a specific objective. It takes defined inputs and turns them into defined outputs. A process may include roles, responsibilities, tools, and management controls required to deliver the outputs. Let us take a look at the image that describes a process. A process or an activity within a process is initiated by a trigger. A trigger may be the arrival of an input or any other event. For example, the failure of a server may trigger event management and incident management processes. The central box in the image indicates the elements of a process. As mentioned earlier, a process is a set of activities with established procedures and work instructions. So it has to be measured and then improved with the help of metrics. A process may include roles and responsibilities to carry out the activities involved in it. The Process Control section shows various entities to control the process. The process owner governs and controls the process. He is accountable for the effectiveness and efficiency of the process. Processes, once defined, should be documented and controlled. A process is organized around a set of objectives with process controls. The lowermost section in the image indicates the process enablers, which are the requisites for a process. Resources and capabilities are required to deliver, control, and manage the process activities. They also help to produce the required process outputs. A process produces various outputs, including process reports and reviews. In the next screen, we will focus on process characteristics. All processes have the following common characteristics. Firstly, processes are measurable. Managers want to measure cost, quality, and other variables, while the doers of the process are concerned with duration and productivity. Secondly, processes help to deliver specific results. The primary output of a process is delivered to customers and stakeholders. Finally, a process responds to specific events known as triggers. In the screen, we will discuss functions. In ITIL terminology, function includes a team of people and the tools they need to carry out one or more processes or activities. Functions are the units of an organization which specialize in performing certain types of work. They are responsible for specific outcomes. ITIL 2011 delivers various functions which are shown on the screen. The service desk of an IT organization is the single point of contact where a business sends operational requests. Requests for changes, such as relocations and installation orders, are sent to the service desk. Users also make support requests and service requests, such as questions on internal training or documentation. IT operations is an independent function in an IT organization. IT operations management includes continuous activities related to IT service delivery. It also includes the control and maintenance of IT infrastructure. This ensures that IT services are delivered based on the Service Level Agreement, or SLA. IT operations management has two roles, such as operations control and facility management. Operations control includes job scheduling, procedures for backup and restore, processing of console management, and so on. Facility management is related to managing the physical IT environment. This includes network rooms, data center rooms, power supply, and so on. Technical management is aimed at designing cost-effective technological infrastructures that can support business processes. The technical management team is involved in designing, testing, and optimizing IT services. It provides resources that support the ITSM lifecycle. The application management function helps to manage applications for their entire lifecycle. It provides the resources for the ITSM lifecycle. Application management also plays a key role in designing, testing, and improving applications. In the next screen, we will discuss how processes and functions operate. A process-oriented organization successfully aligns processes across functions. This allows the functions to maintain their effectiveness, while the efficiency of the organization improves with the result of increased customer satisfaction. In the image shown on the screen, the various functions like operations, development, etc., and their subfunctions follow a single process that is indicated by a dotted line. While the functions concentrate on managing resources, the process focuses on service delivery. One of the techniques used to map the functions and departments to processes is the RACI model. Next, we will focus on the roles in service management. Two key roles in service management are the service owner and the process owner. The service owner is the person who is accountable for the delivery of a specific IT service. They are responsible for continual improvement and management of change affecting services under their care. The service owner is accountable for a specific service within an organization regardless of where the underpinning technology components, processes, or professional capabilities reside. Service ownership is as critical to service management as establishing ownership for processes which cross multiple vertical departments. An example of service owner is the owner of a payroll service for a global MNC. This service may be delivered to employees across the globe through a website that may be hosted in a data center in Ireland and supported by teams in India. Irrespective of the underlying technology mechanisms and geography, the owner is accountable for the effective delivery of the service. This ensures that each employee of the MNC gets their pay on a predefined date every month. Now let us define a process owner. A process owner is responsible for ensuring that a process is being performed as agreed and documented. Click the images to know more about the responsibilities of service owners and process owners. The service owner is the key person to be contacted for service inquiries and issues. He makes sure that customer needs are met through consistent support and delivery services. The service owner also identifies opportunities for service requirements. In addition, the service owner maintains liaison with the process owners during the service management lifecycle. The service owner also solicits the reports, statistics, and other data required for analysis. Finally, he ensures effective service monitoring and performance. Let us understand the responsibilities of the process owner. The process owner performs tasks such as documenting and publishing the process, defining the key performance indicators or KPIs to evaluate the effectiveness and efficiency of the process, engaging in process design and being responsible for it, reviewing any proposed enhancement to the process, addressing any issue related to the way the process runs, making sure that the staff has the required training in the process and are aware of their roles in it, ensuring that processes, roles, responsibilities, and documents are regularly reviewed and audited, and interfacing with the line management and ensuring that the process receives the needed staff resources. Sometimes, the process owner may have to perform the role of a process manager. The responsibilities of the process manager include planning and coordination of all activities required to carry out, monitor, and report on the process. There may be several process managers for one process. For example, regional change managers or IT service continuity managers for each data center. However, in larger organizations, the roles of the process manager and the process owner may be separate. In the next screen, we will focus on the RACI. The RACI model is used to identify the roles and responsibilities in a process. RACI stands for Responsible, Accountable, Consulted, and Informed. Responsible refers to the people or person responsible for carrying out various tasks. The tasks imply the actual work to be performed. Accountable refers to the person accountable for various activities. It implies taking ownership of the activities included in the process. Only one person can be accountable for each activity. Consulted refers to the people whose opinions are sought after designing, implementing, or improving an activity. These people are expected to have an influence on the activities in the process. Informed refers to the people who are informed while executing or improving an activity. There can be only one person accountable, but multiple people responsible for an activity. In the next screen, we will focus on an example related to the RACI model. The table given here shows the RACI model based on the roles and responsibilities related to activities in a process. It lists some activities and shows whether the service owner, process owner, security manager, and so on are responsible or accountable for a certain activity. It also lists the activities they are consulted for or informed about. Next, we will focus on the types of service providers. We will first explain what a supplier is and follow up with the definition of a contract. ITIL defines the term supplier as a third party responsible for supplying goods or services that are required to deliver IT services. Commodity software and hardware vendors, outsourcing organizations, and telecom and network providers are suppliers. Now let us define an underpinning contract. An underpinning contract is a legal agreement between the service provider and the supplier. The agreement between the business organization and the IT service provider is called service level agreement. Now let us do a quick recall of the concepts related to roles in service management. Let us summarize what we have learned in this lesson. Best practices are successful innovations that have been accepted and followed by organizations. Service management helps to transform IT resources into valuable IT services. Stakeholders are interested in the target, resources, activities, and outcome of a service or a project. The service owner is responsible for providing a specific service within an organization. The process owner ensures that a process is performed as decided and documented. Next, we will focus on the second lesson, the service lifecycle. This lesson gives an overview of how the different components or phases of service management lifecycle interact. Let us explore the objectives of this lesson in the next screen. After completing this lesson, you will be able to identify the components or phases of service management lifecycle. In addition, you will be able to explain the relationship between governance and IT service management. In the next screen, we will focus on the components or phases of service management lifecycle. The image illustrates how the service lifecycle is initiated from a change in the requirements of a business. These requirements are identified and agreed in the service strategy stage within a service level package or SLP and a defined set of business outcomes. This passes to the service design stage, where a service solution is produced together with a service design package or SDP. The service design package includes everything necessary to take this service through the remaining stages of the lifecycle. The SDP passes to the service transition stage, where the service is evaluated, tested, and validated. In this stage, the Service Knowledge Management System, or SKMS, is updated. The service is also transitioned into the live environment, where it enters the service operation stage. The continual service improvement identifies opportunities for the improvement of weaknesses or failures within any stage of the lifecycle. In the next screen, we will focus on the relationship between governance and ITSM. The image shown on this slide demonstrates how corporate governance is related to IT service management. Corporate governance deals with establishing corporate policies, strategic directions, and objectives. It also includes the identification of critical success factors and key result areas for an organization. Corporate governance ensures that strategies and business plans are in place. Corporate compliance assures the governance of all legal, industrial, and regulatory rules being followed while executing the corporate strategy. IT governance establishes, enables, and executes the IT strategy. It establishes operations to ensure that high-quality, compliant IT services are provided. Such governance also ensures that the IT organization meets key result areas. IT compliance is a part of corporate compliance. It provides assurance to IT governance that all the IT policies, directions, processes, controls, and rules are being complied with. IT service management aids in implementing and managing quality IT services that meet the needs of the business, which is under the control of governance. Let us summarize what we have learned in this lesson. The 5 components of service management lifecycle are service strategy, service design, service transition, service operation, and continual service improvement. Continual service improvement identifies opportunities for improving the failures within any stage of the service lifecycle. Corporate governance deals with setting up corporate policies, strategic directions, etc., and identifying critical success factors for an organization. IT service management helps to implement quality IT services that meet the needs of a business. Next, we will look at a few questions based on this unit. Hello, and welcome to Unit 2 of the ITIL 2011 Foundation Certification course offered by Simplilearn. This unit includes 3 lessons. In this unit, you will be introduced to the first phase of the IT service management lifecycle, which is service strategy. Let us move on to the first lesson, Introduction to Service Strategy, in the next screen. This lesson helps you understand what service strategy is, its importance, and how it adds value to business. This lesson also focuses on classification of services based on the customer's requirement. Let us look at the objectives of this lesson in the next screen. After completing this lesson, you will be able to describe the purpose, objective, scope, and value of service strategy, identify the 4 processes in service strategy, and explain the different types of services provided. In the next screen, we will discuss the purpose, objective, scope, and value of service strategy. The processes in service strategy include demand management, service portfolio management, financial management, and business relationship management. Demand management is the process of understanding the demands for services. Service portfolio management refers to the complete set of services offered by a service provider. Financial management provides an understanding of opportunities associated with services in financial terms. Business relationship management ensures that the service provider understands the changing needs of the customer. These processes are explained in detail later in this unit. Next, we will focus on different types of services. Services are classified based on the customer's requirement and the service provider's capabilities. Broadly, the services are classified into core services, enabling services, and enhancing services. Core services provide the basic results that a customer requires. They signify the value that a customer wants and for which they are keen to invest. Core services anchor the value proposition for the customer and provide the basis for their continued utilization and satisfaction. Enabling services are required to deliver a core service. They serve as basic factors enabling the customer to receive the core service. Customers do not perceive an enabling service as a service in its own right. Also, the service may not be seen by the customers. Enhancing services are the services added to a core service to make it more appealing to the customers. They are not vital to the core service delivery and are added to it as excitement factors, which will encourage customers to use the core service often. Let us take an example to understand these services. Suppose a service provider's core service is to provide word processing service for users. To use core word processing service efficiently, certain enabling services, such as download and installation of updates, are required. To delight the customer, service provider can strategize to provide professional print access to publish the document. Now let us consider another example. Suppose the employees of a company can monitor the status of their benefit, that is, health insurance. The company can come up with a portal that provides front-end access to the benefits tracking service. This is an enabling service. If the company can help the employees create and manage a fitness or weight loss program, then such a facility is considered as an enhancing service. Next, we will focus on customers and users. Customers are the ones who pay for services. They negotiate and agree to service level targets with service providers. Sometimes the customers also can be users. Users are the ones who use the services on a day-to-day basis. Now let us do a quick recall of the concepts related to service strategy. Let us summarize what we have learned in this lesson. The service strategy phase provides a defined solution to a business problem. Demand management, service portfolio management, financial management, and business relationship management are the processes in service strategy. Services are classified into core services, enabling services, and enhancing services. Next, we will focus on the second lesson, service strategy concepts. This lesson introduces you to the key concepts in service strategy. This lesson also focuses on the classification of services based on the customer's requirement. Let us define the objectives of this lesson in the next screen. After completing this lesson, you will be able to describe the basics of value creation through services. Explain business case. In the next screen, let us understand utility and warranty. One of the key concepts in service strategy is to determine how to create service value. The two key elements that combine to provide service value are utility and warranty. Service utility is the functionality offered by the product or service from the customer perspective. Warranty is a promise that the product or service will meet agreed requirements. Utility is what the customer gets, whereas warranty is how service is delivered. Utility should meet the customer needs, that is, it should fit for purpose. Warranty is the ability of the service to operate reliably, that is, it should fit for use. There are three characteristics of warranty. Firstly, warranty should be provided in terms of availability, capacity of services. Secondly, warranty makes sure that customer assets continue to receive utility, even if degraded, through major disruptions. Finally, warranty ensures security for value-creating potential of customer assets. Utility increases performance average, whereas warranty reduces performance variation. describing both service utility and service warranty, enables the service providers to establish the value of the service and differentiate themselves from the competitors. It also helps to attach a meaningful price tag that a potential customer would be willing to pay for. In the next screen, let us understand the concept of utility and warranty more elaborately. The image illustrates how the two key elements combine to create value in IT services. Utility is perceived by the customer from the attributes of the service that have a positive effect on the performance of tasks associated with desired results. Removal or relaxation of constraints on performance is also perceived as a positive effect. It means that if you are able to support the performance of a customer's services or remove the challenges at the customer end, the service utility is on the higher side. Warranty is determined by 4 parameters. They are availability, capacity, continuity, and security. These parameters determine if the service is fit for use for a customer to achieve business outcomes. Suppose a customer wants to use email as a service. In this case, utility refers to the ability of the service to allow the customer to send and receive email. Warranty is derived from the positive effect of being available when needed, in sufficient capacity or magnitude, and dependable in terms of continuity and security. For example, if the email service is available 24/7, the warranty in this case should be to provide security so that nobody hacks your account. In the next screen, we will focus on service assets. Utility of a service is delivered through service assets. Service assets include resources and capabilities. Both are equally important, and a service provider cannot exist without them. Resources are the tangible assets of an organization that can be purchased to deliver the service. Capabilities, on the other hand, are the intangible assets of an organization and cannot be purchased, but have to be developed and maintained over a time span. Resources are the direct inputs for the production of goods. Capabilities have the ability to coordinate, control, and deploy resources to create services. Resources include the IT infrastructure, people, and applications. Capabilities are basically driven by experience, based on information, knowledge-intensive, and nested within an organization's management, people, and processes. The 9 types of assets are shown on the screen. Let us do a quick recall of service utility and warranty. Values are defined by the customers. The customer will select a service or product that represents the best mix of features at the price they are willing to pay. Value changes over time and circumstances. The service needs and values change as the customer faces new challenges to adapt to their changing environment. Value needs to be defined in terms of 3 areas: business outcomes, customers' preferences, and customers' perception. In the next screen, we will further discuss value creation. Perceptions are influenced by service features, present or past experiences with similar features, and relative competency, self-image, peers, and position in the market. In the next screen, we will further discuss customer perception of value. To understand the value of IT, the following questions need to be answered. What service does IT provide? Service from the IT perspective should be linked to specific business activities and outcome of customers. What did the services achieve? The customers will identify what they were able to do with the service and how important was the service to them and their organization. What is the cost of a particular service? When a customer compares the service cost with the service that enabled them to achieve their desired outcomes, they will be able to determine how valuable the service is. In the next screen, let us discuss the factors that influence customer perception of value. Perceptions are influenced by service features, present or past experiences with similar features, and relative competency, self-image, peers, and position in the market. In the next screen, we will further discuss customer perception of value. Customer point is the reference value and is based on do-it-yourself or DIY strategy. The positive difference is based on the perceived additional benefits and gains provided by the service provider. The negative difference is what the customer would lose by investing in the service. The net difference is the actual perception that the customer has of the service offered after ignoring the negative difference. The economic value is the sum of reference value and net difference. Next, we will focus on how service management enables business outcomes. Service management uses its service assets to deliver a service that meets the business outcomes of the customer. Service management is a set of organizational capabilities specialized in providing value to customers in the form of services. The capabilities interact with each other to function as a system for creating value. Service management acts as an operating system for service assets in effectively deploying them to provide services. Service assets are the source of value, and customer assets are the recipients. Service management enables the service assets to perform according to customer requirements, while identifying and reducing the impact of constraints on the service assets. IT service management does this by managing IT capabilities and resources. This is done either internally or through the support of external service providers and technology vendors. Service management enables the service assets to achieve desired business outcomes. From a business point of view, IT service management enables the delivery of services which are used to achieve business outcomes. In the next screen, we will focus on the relationship between a service provider, business unit, and business outcomes of the customer. Organizations are becoming less focused on the IT infrastructure and more on how to automate end-to-end business processes and deliver business services. The challenge is to understand the operational objectives of the business process and translate that into activities that can be provided by the IT infrastructure. Overcoming this problem is the objective of the processes. The given image illustrates the relationship between the service provider, the business unit, and the customer's business outcomes. In this image, an IT service provider delivers services to an internal business unit which enables it to achieve its desired business outcomes. In this image, the nature of the business outcomes determines what customer assets the business unit will need. The service provider uses the service assets to deliver a service that meets the needs of the business unit. In order to achieve the outcomes, the business unit needs a minimum level of service. The performance potential of the service indicates what utility and warranty the service will have. This will indicate, in business unit terms, the performance that the service will be capable of. The business unit can then determine whether that will be suitable to enable its customer assets to produce the desired level of outcomes. The more the utility and warranty, the higher the performance potential. Next, we will focus on service packages. A service package provides a detailed description of a package of bundled services available to be delivered to customers. It defines the level of utility and warranty provided by the service package. The service package includes the core services provided, any supporting services provided or enabling service packages, any enhancing service packages, which are often the excitement factors used as differentiators, and service level packages. The service level packages can be at various levels as shown on the screen. Next, we will focus on business case. A business case is a documented justification which demonstrates that by adding a new service, the service provider can attract many new customers who are willing to invest in the new service. A business case is prepared to evaluate the business viability of providing a new service. It uses qualitative and quantitative terms and links business impact or benefits to the defined business objectives. A business case is used as a decision support and planning tool that projects the likely consequences of a business action. Justification for a significant item of expenditure. Report that includes information about costs, benefits, options, issues, risks, and possible problems. In the next screen, we will focus on business case structure. A business case structure includes an introduction that addresses the business objectives, methods and assumptions which define the boundaries of the business case, business impacts in terms of financial and non-financial impacts and recommendations in terms of any specific actions, risks, and contingencies that can impact the objectives. In the next screen, we will focus on risk. Risk is defined as uncertainty that can have a positive or negative outcome. If the outcome of a risk is positive, it helps to fulfill the business objectives of an organization. Such risks are called opportunities. If the outcome of a risk is negative, it is called a threat. Managing risk requires identification and control of the exposures to risk, which may have an impact on achieving business objectives. There are two distinct phases of risk, which are risk analysis and risk management. Risk analysis involves gathering information about risk exposure so that the organization can make timely decisions and manage risk appropriately. A risk is a possible event that could cause harm or loss, or affect the ability to achieve objectives. The technique used to manage a risk is called risk management. Managing risk involves risk assessment and risk analysis. The aim of risk management is to reduce the impact of a negative outcome and increase the impact of a positive outcome. Next, we will focus on service management technology and automation. Automation can have significant impact on the performance of service assets such as management, organization, people, process, knowledge, and information. Automation is considered to improve the utility and warranty of services. Automation provides real-time and historical data for analysis, correlates data from multiple devices, analyzes service impact for prioritization of incidents, problems, and change tickets, and optimizes service performance, for example, by adjusting capacity based on demand. In the next screen, we will focus on automation benefits. The automation of service processes helps improve the quality of service, reduce costs, and reduce risks by reducing complexity and uncertainty, and by efficiently resolving trade-offs. Some of the areas where service management can benefit from automation are design and modeling, typically a what-if analysis, pattern recognition and analysis of service issues, detection and monitoring of events and alerts, an online service catalog and optimization of services and underlying technology, classification, prioritization, and routing of incident, problem, and change tickets. In the next screen, we will discuss service management tools. The service management tools include the following: Service Desk Self-Help, which is a web front-end offering a menu-driven range of self-help and service requests, with a direct interface into the back-end process handling software. A workflow or process engine which allows responsibilities, activities, timescales, escalation paths, and alerting to be predefined and then automatically managed. It is usually a part of the ticketing tools used for service management. An integrated configuration management system, or CMS, where configuration items, relationships, records related to incidents, problems, known errors, and change are stored. In Discovery and Deployment Tool, CMS data is populated and can be verified. It also assists in license management and deployment of new software at target locations. Another tool is Remote Control, or commonly known as Remote Desktops, which allows relevant support groups to take control of the user desktops. Diagnostic scripts, utilities, reporting, and dashboards are also examples of automation enabling service management. Let us summarize what we have learned in this lesson. Utility and warranty are the two components of service value. Service assets deliver utility of a service and include resources and capabilities. A service package provides a detailed description of a package of bundled services available for customers. A business case is used as a decision support and planning tool that projects the likely consequences of a business action. Next, we will focus on the third lesson, service strategy processes. This lesson will help you to understand what service strategy is, its importance, and how it adds value to business. This lesson also focuses on classification of services based on the customer's requirement. Let us explore the objectives of this lesson in the next screen. After completing this lesson, you will be able to describe the purpose and objective of the different processes in service strategy. Describe the activities involved in Service Portfolio Management, SPM, and Financial Management for IT services. Identify the responsibilities of the Business Relationship Manager. In the next screen, we will begin with an overview of demand management. The primary source of demand for IT services comes from the execution of business process within the organizations. Patterns of business activity influence the demand pattern. Service providers need to understand how the customer's business activity operates. This will help them improve the way in which capacity is planned and produced for any supporting services. This is achieved with the support of the Capacity Management Plan, which helps in the delivery schedule maintaining the service belt. A service belt is the concept which describes the ability of the business to increase its performance to be in the service industry. Over time, demand management should be able to build a profile of business processes and the patterns of business activity in such a way that seasonal variations, as well as specific events, such as adding new employees, can be anticipated in terms of associated demand. Analyzing and tracking the activity patterns of the business process makes it possible to predict demand for services in the catalog that support the process. It is also possible to predict demand for underlying service assets that support those services. Every additional unit of demand generated by business activity is allocated to a unit of service capacity. In the next screen, we will discuss PBA and UP. PBA and UP play a vital role in designing the service strategy. User profiles represent different groups of users for a given service. They are also based on the roles, responsibilities, interactions, schedules, work environments, and social context of related users. Patterns of business activity represent how users in different user profiles access a service over a course of a given time period. Let us continue our discussion on PBA and UP in the next screen. Business activities drive demand for services. Customer assets such as people, processes, and applications generate PBA. PBA defines dynamics of a business and include interactions with customers, suppliers, partners, and other stakeholders. Services often directly support PBA. This patterns of business activity can change over time with changes and improvements in business, process, people, organization, applications, and infrastructure. PBAs are placed under change control. UPs are based on roles and responsibilities within an organization, functions and operations of processes and applications. The image illustrates an example of UP and PBA. An Internet service provider provides cheaper download rates for users in the age group of 16 to 20 years during night. This group of 16 to 20-year-olds belongs to one user profile, and the pattern analyzed is users downloading data during night hours. PBA and UP ensure a systematic approach to understand and manage demand of the customers. Service providers should gather necessary information to serve the demand of the customers with appropriately matched services, service levels, and service assets. This leads to improved value for both customers and service providers by eliminating waste and poor performance. Next, we will focus on service portfolio management. Service portfolio management refers to the complete set of services offered by a service provider under management across all customers and market spaces. The image depicts the grouping between customers and the service portfolio, supported by an understanding of the market space. Market space is a combination of PBA and UP, which is correlated to a customer or a group of customers. In other words, service portfolio is services catering to a specific market space. Changes to portfolios are governed by policies and procedures. The service improvement plan is for the third-party services to gain more customers as per their market space or the line of service. In the next screen, let us discuss purpose, objective, and scope of SPM. The components of service portfolio are service pipeline, service catalog, and retired services. The service portfolio represents all the resources presently engaged or being released in various phases of the service lifecycle. Each phase requires resources for completion of projects, initiatives, and contracts. The portfolio should have the right mix of services in the pipeline and catalog to secure the financial viability of the service provider. As seen in the image, the service pipeline consists of services under development for a given market space or customer. These services are to be phased into operation by service transition after completion of design, development, and testing. The design, development, and testing are done as part of the service design phase of IT service management. Service pipeline is basically the services to be launched by the service provider. Service catalog, as defined in ITIL, is a database or structured document with information about all live IT services, including those available for deployment. The service catalog is the subset of the service portfolio visible to customers, and the service catalog is the only part of the portfolio that recovers costs or earns profits. A subset of the service catalog may be third-party or outsourced services. These are the services presently being offered by the service provider. The last component of the service portfolio is retired services. Once the services reach the end of their contracts, they are phased out or retired. These are the services that the service provider is not willing to offer in future because of various reasons. One such reason can be that the service is no longer required by its customer, or the service might not be financially viable. The arrows in the image indicate the movement from one stage to the other. Third-party catalog represents the third-party services like maintenance, procurement, and so on. In the next screen, let us focus on process activities of service portfolio management. SPM consists of 4 main phases of activity. It is a dynamic and ongoing process set. It includes the following activities as shown on the screen. Define. This step involves activities like making inventory services and ensuring business cases are documented to understand the opportunities and threats. This step also involves validating portfolio data. The next step is Analyze. Analyze. This step involves maximizing portfolio value. It is vital to align, prioritize, and balance supply and demand. If the organization does not understand what analysis it will perform, it is unlikely to know the right data to collect. Data collection exercises are disruptive and should be as streamlined as possible. This is where strategic intent is crafted. Begin with a set of top-down questions. What are the long-term goals of the service organization? What services are required to meet those goals? The third step is Approve. Approve. This step includes finalizing the proposed portfolio and authorizing services and resources. The previous phases have led to a well-understood future state to be. This is where deliberate approvals or disapprovals of that future state take place. With approvals comes the corresponding authorization for new services and resources. The last step is Charter. Charter. This step involves communicating decisions, allocating resources, and chartering services. This phase begins with a list of decisions and action items. These decisions should be correlated to budgetary decisions and financial plans. Budget allocations should enforce the allocation of resources. Next, we will focus on the purpose, objective, and scope of financial management. In this screen, we will discuss the benefits of financial management. Financial management is a well-established and well-understood part of any organization. The benefits include enhanced decision-making and increased speed of change, which means the business is able to respond faster to opportunities. Improved SPM and operation control. Financial compliance and control required with financial regulatory requirements such as Sarbanes-Oxley Act of U.S. for financial organizations. Greater insight and communication of the value created by IT services. Increased visibility of IT leading to increased perception of IT. Now let us do a quick recall of the financial management concepts discussed here. Financial management is a well-established and well-understood part of any organization. The benefits include enhanced decision-making and increased speed of change, which means the business is able to respond faster to opportunities. Improved SPM and operation control. Financial compliance and control required with financial regulatory requirements such as Sarbanes-Oxley Act of U.S. for financial organizations. Greater insight and communication of the value created by IT services. Increased visibility of IT leading to increased perception of IT. Now let us do a quick recall of the financial management concepts discussed here. The two main activities of BRM are being the voice of the service provider to the customer, being the voice of the customer to the service provider. In case of external service providers, business relationship management is executed by a separate and dedicated function of BRMs or account managers, each one dedicated to a customer or a group of smaller customers. The emphasis here is on maximizing contract value through customer satisfaction. Business relationship management is executed between a senior representative from IT and senior managers from the business units for internal service providers. Here, the emphasis is on aligning the objectives of the business with the activity of the service provider. In the next screen, we will focus on the responsibilities of the business relationship manager. As someone playing a key role in the process, the business relationship manager maintains the relationship with one or more customers, understanding the customer's business outcomes, and acting as a representative for the customer and the service provider. Works with other service management processes and functions for information gathering. Assists the service level manager in creating a seamless conduit from customer to service provider capabilities used to ensure value. Documents customer complaints and instigates corrective action if required. Let us summarize what we have learned in this lesson. Demand management helps to understand the demands for services and manage them to help customers achieve their business objectives. Service portfolio management refers to the complete set of services offered by a service provider under management across all customers and market spaces. Financial management provides an understanding of opportunities associated with services in financial terms. The business relationship manager documents customer complaints and instigates corrective action. Next, we will look at a few questions based on this unit.